Welcome everyone to the online breathing space. My name is Sharyn with a Y, and I am one half of the Exhale Awakening. And Marie, who you will see on the screen next to me, is the other half of the Exhale Awakening. And we are your host and guide for what is for us an evening, so this evening's breath work. Um, we we are Well, let's see what you've come to join the breathwork for today. So our breathworks are somewhat softer and quieter in their delivery, but no less profound than the traditional conscious connected breathwork that you might be used to finding in this space. We we tend to breathe with more than one breath style, and this evening we have three breath styles. Um, and we start all of our breath with some bird song, and we finish each of the breaths with some silence. And today we have an even longer period of silence because we are breathing into space. So we have quite an extended section of breath to silence. And we do this on purpose. We kind of did it accidentally, and now we do it on purpose. Um, so we started our partnership leading an online breathwork on Wednesday evenings called the Midweek Exhale, a little rest in the middle of your week. And because we wanted it to be restful, we introduced silence and birdsong in the way that I've described. And that and we then subsequently found out that both of those things have a really positive and calming impact on the parasympathetic nervous system. So the bird song is primal. It kind of the birds don't sing if there are predators around, so it tells us that we're safe and that it's okay to be here. And then the silence. There's new studies out where they have found that silence allows us to build new neural pathways, which is really great news. I was very pleased to find that out, thinking that the neural pathway building kind of stopped when we were in our late teens. So um, we now have we now have other breathworks that we now have other breathworks, ticketed breathworks that we do each month, and I will give you some links so you can find out about those, and they're all in this style of birdsong, breathwork, and then silence. We don't need to tell you about any contraindications for our session today. So, regardless of what it is regardless of what you are traveling with your health, the breathworks are fine for you to partake in this evening. The only thing that I would say is the thing that we say in all of our sessions is um, be comfortable. So even though there are no kind of medically advised reasons why you shouldn't do any of these breath works, be cognizant of what's going on in your body, be cognizant of how you are feeling. And if any of the breaths don't feel good to you, then there's no need to push through, and there's no need to do them if you don't wish to, where these are invitations. Um, and whilst our overriding rule is to be comfortable, and that's kind of physically, that's in kind of always, just take care of your comfort, even if it's only for this hour, take care of your comfort. Um, we do also say though that this is breath work, so you might want to you might want to kind of go to the edges of your comfort and just see how you feel at the edges of your comfort. And then we have this kind of this dance between kind of moving into breath work so that you are actually working at the breath, but also um, taking care of yourself and just finding that balance, finding where suits you, is of part of the challenge of this journey. Um, I think that's where I want to finish. Have I covered everything, Marie? And I think you can share sound because you are sharing sound. Um, I haven't taken it back yet. We're having some little technical chats in the background whilst we're introducing the breath work. We've got like a little technical discussion going, so that's why I was a little hesitant occasionally during the chat, just wondering what was going on there. But over to you now, Marie.
Okay, it wasn't telling me I was sharing sound, so I thought I wasn't sharing sound. So, that being said, get yourselves comfortable. Oh, I think the one thing we do, we want you to be comfortable. So make sure you're supported, make sure you're properly supported. So if you're sitting, make sure that you're supported. And if you're lying down, make sure your pillow's not too high. And just begin, as I begin the bird song, just begin to notice what you've arrived here with, whether it's the middle of your day or your evening. Just notice what you've arrived with. Your day may have been busy, may have been quiet, your mind might be racing, maybe your body feels tired. And as you notice, try not to analyze, try not to question or, even judge. Just notice what's there. And notice how you feel. Notice, are there any emotions there? Can you find any emotions? And sometimes it's just okayness, and that's perfect too. And just allowing all those things that you've noticed to soften slightly. They mightn't go away, they might still be there, and that's absolutely fine. Just allow them to soften slightly. And bring your attention to your breath. Your inhale and your exhale. And notice where you feel the inhale and the exhale. And if you find any of the things that we noticed when we began this are beginning to come back, that's okay. Just gently let them soften again and bring your focus back to your breath. Maybe it's the first time today you've had an opportunity to notice your breath. Or maybe you're reconnecting. Just taking this time to allow everything to settle. And just to get ready for the breathwork journey. Keeping the focus on the inhale and on the exhale.
And our journey today is an exploration of the air element. And we're going to explore 3 different aspects of air. We're going to explore space. And that might be as simple as exploring the space that we take up, or the space that we are in, the room that we are in. But actually, on a macro level, it's the space above us, the sky. It's the space beyond the sky, the atmosphere. And it's how we work with that and explore that with not only our mind, but also our higher mind. Then we're going to come back very much down to earth, and we're going to explore the wind, the kind of unseen movement of air. And, perhaps we only see it when we see the winds, the leaves rustling as the wind moves through them. Or maybe we feel it on our face. Or maybe we hear it because it is kind of building in force, and perhaps we're getting there to thinking about gales and tornadoes and the more extreme experiences of wind. But then also considering that element of air, we can't really do that, particularly in a space like this, without thinking about the breath. The inhale, as we bring the breath into our body, probably through the nose. And then the exhale as we let the breath leave our body. And then all of the magic and wonderful things that happen inside our bodies because we engaged in that expression of life force, in bringing the breath in and out through our bodies and reaffirming life every time we breathe.
And we're going to begin with space. The vast, unchanging sky. And in this breath segment, I'm going to invite you to breathe in silence. There's going to be no music. My voice will guide you from time to time, but there's going to be no music for this section. Because when we look at the elements, space, we invite silence. But this is fixed energy. So I'm also going to invite you to a structured breath. I'm going to invite you to rectangle breathing. And I'm going to introduce it by breathing 3 different sized rectangles. 3 different sized rectangles with you. So we'll begin by breathing in for 4, holding for 2, breathing out for 4, and holding for 2. And in that hold, and it's only a very, very short hold, just feel the space. And then we're going to make our rectangle a little bit bigger. So we're going to breathe in for 5 and hold for 3. And then we're going to make it a little bit bigger again. We're going to breathe in for 6 and hold for 4. Now, obviously, this is invitation. If you find that some of the rectangles don't suit you, please feel free to find your own size. But I'm going to guide you through the 3 and then back down to the small one. And then it's up to you. Do you want to continue getting bigger and smaller, or do you want to just find one rectangle and breathe there? So as we prepare, on your next exhale, just pausing for a moment, feeling the space. And we're going to inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, hold, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2. And continue to breathe rectangles. You can either keep them growing and getting smaller, or just find a rectangle that suits you. And feeling the 4 corners of the breath, solid as the horizon, steady as the sky. And the sky doesn't change, weather moves through it, but the space remains. Feeling the space as you breathe. And this is the higher mind. Consciousness that watches without grasping. And maybe there are thoughts, but let the thoughts be like birds flying through. You're the sky, always here and always spacious. Keeping those rectangles going. Feeling the space on the hold. The higher mind lives in that space between the breaths. Not in the thinking and not in the watching, but in that patient holding. And your rectangles going. Inhaling, pausing, exhaling, pausing. And feel the solidity of that rectangle. Feel the structure. And feel the space. Inhaling, holding, exhaling, holding. And at the end of your next rectangle, I want you to let go of the breath pattern and just allow your breath to fall into a natural rhythm. And we're going to move into silence where you won't hear my voice. Silence where you can rest.
And as the bird song brings the silence to a gentle close, just taking a moment to reflect on how that silence felt. So when you dropped the breath, rectangular breath, and you just rested there, how did it feel? And for our second breath of air, we are going to breathe with the wind. The wind as movement, as exploration. And I'm going to invite you to let your breath have sound. So I'm going to invite you to hum or to just buzz gently on the exhale. Now, before you're going to panic about your singing voice, we can't hear you, and you don't need to be in tune. And if it's not possible for you to hum because of where you are in your household or the place that you are right now, don't worry. If it's not appropriate, you don't need to. It is possible to kind of hum without making a sound, and you'll just feel then the vibration of what happens as you move the breath over your vocal cords in that way. And if you're not comfortable with that either, maybe just consider the bees and let the bees and the insects kind of be in your mind as you're breathing. And interestingly, I've got a ladybird buzzing around me right now. So the insects have come to join us for this part of the breath. And I invite you to let the hum, I invite you to be curious about the hum. Because we're going to start the humming by humming in our throat. And that might sound odd. You might think, where else would I hum? But just bear with me. Start there for now. And on your next exhale, just let a hum begin in your throat and feel it. And you can feel the vibration in your throat as the sound moves over your vocal cords. And the wind, it's never silent. Every time it moves, it stirs. So let your hum be curious and playful. Like the wind finding its way through branches or around corners. Just breathe in and hum on the exhale. And let the sound move through your body. After your next hum, we're going to move the focus, and this time we're going to hum into our nasal passages, just into the back of our throat where the throat meets the nose. And you might feel like you need to do a higher note to do that one. You may not. But to see if naturally you move up a note and feel the hum reverberating around the back of your nose, maybe into your lower sinus pockets. And this breath of wind, it's an initiating breath. It's the breath that begins things. The breath that has the question before we have the answer. It's when our mind is alive, so that buzzy feeling that we have in our nasal passages, allowing us to explore. If you're visualizing rather than making sound, perhaps thinking of a murmuration of starlings, that beautiful movement they make as they fly from side to side, individually but as one. And then on your next exhale, we're going to move the focus of the hum up into your head, up into maybe the third eye, if that's something you connect with, but generally up into the whole of your skull, and see if you can feel it in the bones. See if you can feel it in the bone of your skull. And again, you might go a little higher, but maybe not. You may just go a little louder. Feeling the hum move through the bones of your skull. And then I wonder whether you've enjoyed the hum, but whether there was anywhere particularly that you enjoyed more than others. And just let the hum move to that place. We haven't got long now before we move back into silence. I hope your curiosity has been touched. Maybe that you've remembered how to begin or how to explore. And just rest now with your natural breath.
And as the bird song once again brings the silence to a close, just noticing what that silence was like. Maybe it was the same as the other silence, and maybe it was completely different. Just noticing that. And our next section is the section of breath. Air is breath. And it's a section of harmony. So I'm going to invite you to balance your breaths, to harmonize your breaths. So make the inhale and the exhale the same length. But it's also the mutable, the changeable energy section. So know that you can change the length of both inhale and exhale if it suits you as you go. And to begin, I'm just going to invite you to one breath together. We're going to take one collective breath. We're going to breathe in for 4 and breathe out for 4. And then as the music begins, you find your own count. So on your next exhale, just pausing for a moment. And then together we'll inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And you find your own count now. And you can count in your head, or you can feel it in your body, or you can use your hand, touching your thumb to the tip of your finger for each count. Finding your own balanced count. Breathing softly and gently with no forcing or no effort. Finding whatever count suits you and knowing that that's the right count. And allowing that breath to bring harmony, to bring calm. In the inhale and the exhale, the same length. Balancing the effort and rest, the giving and the receiving. In and out, even and smooth, like the waves on a calm day. And your breath's wiser than your thinking. It knows how to balance what your mind can't figure out. Allow the breath to begin to harmonize everything. Your heartbeat, your nervous system, your energy. Feel that harmony beginning to flow. Keeping the breath soft and gentle. Keeping the breaths balanced. Just beginning to let the breath pattern fall away as we prepare to rest in the silence again.
And as the birdsong brings the silence to a close for the last time in this session, just reflecting on how those silences have felt throughout. Did they feel spacious? Or did they feel something else? Noticing whether they felt the same or whether they felt different. And there's no judgment here, there's just a curiosity, an awareness, and a noticing. And we have one short track coming up now. And there's no specific breath style that we're inviting you to. It's just a gentle invitation to become aware of yourself again, become aware of your edges. Maybe to feel the surface underneath you. Maybe to be aware of the room that you're in. Maybe to be aware of how you feel. You might reflect on the breaths that we've shared this evening and whether or not there were some that you preferred more than others, some that were easier than others, some that were a little challenging, and how each of them made you feel. And you might like to explore these things just while you're still snuggled up in your breathing nest. Or if you journal, perhaps you might want to gently take your journal and spend a little time just reflecting with words. We call this integration, the time that you have to let the experience that you've had settle into your being. And it inevitably takes much longer than the time that we can allow you at the end of a breath work. So this is just the beginning. You haven't already, you might want to bring a little bit of movement to your body. Maybe a stretch. Maybe some gentle flexes, the fingers of the toes. Maybe some soft self-touch, either on your neck or on your hands, maybe even on your face. And just begin to set the intention that it's time to come back to the Zoom room. But do this gently and slowly. First, maybe tapping your body and feeling the edges of your skin. Maybe gently blinking open your eyes and taking a look around the room at things that are familiar. colours and textures that please you. And if you are laid down, just moving on to one side and preparing to sit and come back to seated, but gently so that you don't get dizzy. And whilst you're doing that, I'll just make you aware gently of some notices that we've popped in the chat. And if you've enjoyed this style of breath work and you'd like to breathe with us again, keep your eye out here. We're often here. But also we do this every Wednesday evening, and there's a link there that you can click. And we also incorporate this into a longer breath work twice a month, once for 2 hours and once for 3 hours. And you'll find the tickets in the same place. So do take a look there. And if you've enjoyed this and you'd like to give us a review, or you'd like to message us privately, then our directory listing is there. And you'll also find the contact details for Breathing Space, the details of our facilitator training with Breathing Space, and also with the Exhale Awakening. And then our libraries. So there's the Breathing Space All Access Pass, and there's the Exhale Library. And all of that said, if you are here in the room with us, we're going to open the space in a moment for Hearth and Voices. If you're not in the room with us, then do take care of yourself. Be gentle as you come out of this. Integration will continue inevitably. And if you do need to reach out, then you have our details. I'm going to stop the recording now.